Hi, y'all. I'm Allison. November is just around the corner, so you know what that means. We got to break out the TBR games and figure out what we're going to be reading. Today, I'm not spinning for myself. I'm spinning for two of my viewers. Christina Thompson is back for another round, and we have a first timer, Empyrealowl. So she's been in a reading slump. We're hoping to break it for her. Let's hope that the wheel is going to be kind to them both. Before we get started, though, I'm going to reach in here, randomly grab one, and ask everyone to name a book that... Oh, tell me what your newest purchase was. You're not obligated to read it, but of course, if you want to, go for it. So now that we're all properly warmed up, let's get this puppy rolling because we've got a lot of books to roll through. I'm going to be spinning 6 times for Christina and 5 times for Empyrealowl. So that's going to give us a ton of books because I'm going to be recommending one from my library and from each of theirs for each prompt. So I'm going to try to keep my descriptions brief so we won't be here all day long. So everybody get comfy. And Christina, are you ready to find out what's going to be on your list for November? I hope, because we're starting right now. Ready? Great. We get to start with a double, 21 and 22, and I had to combine it into one book. 21 is a Dalton pick. That is my son. We're going to replace this with something else. I'm going to put it back in here so it can come up for me later, and we'll take the top one and see what comes up instead. Multicolored spine. Okay, that's nice and broad. And we're going to combine that with Hustler. Another one very tailored to my library. So I'm going to grab a different one for this too. Put that back in here. And we'll take this one. A book about books. Okay, that should work. Of course, it's going to be a little tricky when I'm trying to pull from your books, but I might be able to pull it off. I know we have quite a few overlap. Okay, we're on day 2. This took me quite a while to come up with a list of books for both of you lovely ladies, but I think I got it. So we're probably going to have some lighting changes and stuff. It's just the nature of the beast. All right, this was actually trickier than I expected, so I didn't successfully combine the 2 prompts, but we're just going to call it good. I went with books about books. 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. I know you're in the mood for mysteries and thrillers, and this fits that, and it's about books. Okay, years ago, Marshall Kenshaw, who is a bookseller and mystery aficionado, made a list of 8 perfect murders based on like Agatha Christie's ABC murders, Strangers on the Train, Death Trap, all of those. Years later, an FBI agent shows up at his bookstore because there are some unsolved homicides that correspond with this list. And Marshall just might end up being the suspect. This is one I've been excited to read, but it's never made it on my list. I haven't read it. If you do, you'll have to let me know how it was. Okay, from your library, we're going with The Book Jumper by Mechthild Glasser. I may have butchered her name. This one is set in Scotland. Amy goes to her grandmother's house. Her grandmother insists that she reads while she's there, but not in the traditional way because Amy discovers she is a book jumper. She's actually able to inhabit the books that she reads and jump from story to story, but somebody is stealing the books. So she's got to find out who it is and stop them. Replace that with a number in the title. Oh, and we need another one, which will be using today's hurdle. And I forgot to mention, Christina is looking for mysteries, thrillers, and maybe some fantasy. So we're going to be focusing on those type of books. Let's go on to spin number 2. Number 7. One word title. Okay, there should be plenty to choose from for this. I took this quite literally. When looking through your bookshelf and my bookshelf, I found one word. Shiver. We both own them, both. So, I'm going to say from my library, Shiver by Ali Reynolds. I love this book. I've read it. Our main protagonist is Mila. She is a snowboarder. She meets up with friends that she hasn't seen in years up to a ski resort. Turns out nobody's there. Ends up being a locked mystery from something that happened in their past. I will warn you, it is heavy on the snowboarding aspect of it. So if you're not familiar with all of those terms and everything, I saw where some people didn't necessarily enjoy that. I used to play SFX on, I believe it was the GameCube. So, you know, I'm a pro at snowboarding. Anyway, I fully enjoyed this book. And you've also got Shiver from Maggie Stiefvater, and this is a werewolf book. This was all the rage back in the day, and I love this series. I have held on to it and do plan to get back into it again one day. So there's your choice for one word. So let's replace that with Read Your Bookshelf. We get to borrow from Chantel. Use her prompt for the month. Okay, Christina, are you ready for round or are you ready for spin 3? Not round 3. Oh, I thought you were going to get a star. Okay, number 24. We never get that one. Snake on Cover. Again, we overlap. So we both have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't read this yet. This one is going to be Dark Academia, Secret Society. Alex is our main character, and she's haunted by ghosts. It's a tale of power, privilege, dark magic, and murder set among the Ivy League elite. And this is Leigh Bardugo's first adult book. So normally she was YA. And going back in time a little bit, I pulled out the Demon King. We've got the Oribus, I believe, but it is a snake. Seven Realms novel, part 1, by Cinda Williams Chima. I don't know. We have a reformed thief, Han Allistar, and he's trying to just help his family survive. They're poor. The only thing he has of value, ironically, he can't sell because it's these metal bands that are on his wrists. They grow as he does, and they won't come off. They're magical. So one day Han steals this powerful amulet from the son of the High Wizard, Micah Bayer. This amulet once belonged to the Demon King. So the Bayers are going to do everything they can to get this back, and Han wants to keep it away from them. Meanwhile, we also have Race. Turns out she soon will be expected to marry to kind of take care, follow in the traditional roles in her kingdom. She aspires to be like Hanali, a legendary warrior queen. So these two, they're going to end up combining forces, I guess, to keep this powerful amulet away from the evil wizards and the Demon King. So I do remember enjoying this. It's been a very long time, though, and I don't know how well it'll hold up. I would assume quite well. Brr, it's cold. A book without a dust jacket, or it's missing it. So, Empyrealowl, are you getting a little like, oh no, are these going to come up for me? Because I think I would be. All right, are you ready, Christina? We got spin 4. Number 15. That is Once Upon a Book Club. All right, from my library, and you have it in yours too, is The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. I read this recently and really enjoyed it. So we've got teen parents that end up going missing. They're like 19 years old and they're living with the girl's mom. And one day they just don't come home from a party. Everybody thinks that they just kind of ran away because they didn't want the responsibility of being a parent. But the mom refuses to give up and she's trying to find her daughter. The book was so good. Took a couple turns I didn't expect, and I highly recommend this one. In fact, it caused me to grab another Lisa Jewell book. This was the first one I read by her. So if you haven't read it yet, then this would be a good contender for Once Upon a Book Club. And for the second one from your library, and mine obviously, another one that I've read, this is Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews. 17-year-old Daphne has been trained by the Spartans to be a warrior her whole life, and she's just on the edge of achieving that dream when Artemis appears, and Daphne is recruited to do a quest because we've got 9 missing items from Olympus, which is, if these items aren't recovered, then the power of the Greek gods will wane and be no more. So it all falls onto her. So you've got a quest, mythology, and it's kind of a little retelling because now Daphne is the one in control of things. So I really enjoyed this, and I saw where you have book 2 on your list. I didn't even know that came out yet, so I'm going to have to watch for that. This one was the YA book, and the other one was adult. And let's replace that with 4 or more colors on the cover. Okay, for the spin. This is going quick. Number 3. Nice, pretty pink flower that is thrifted. So any book you got secondhand. I'm going to pull out the Dante Club by Matthew Pearl. You did say you were in the mood for thrillers and mysteries, and this is a great mystery. In fact, if you wanted to double up, this is also a book about books. So you've got 4 older gentlemen, and this is like in Civil War era. So you got a lot of literary history in it, but it's such a compelling read. You don't have to be familiar with Dante's Inferno to keep up with the book. It was so good. I went out and found that there's like a companion. So I bought that as soon as I finished this, but I haven't read the companion yet. And as this is one that I have no idea which books you got thrifted, then I can't make another suggestion from your library. So anything that you bought secondhand or was a hand-me-down, maybe from my free little library things or the library itself, I think that would count. So something that you didn't pay the full price for. And we will replace that with a bullseye. These are books that are probably going to go. I've had them forever, and they need to be read or out the door. Okay, Christina, this is your last spin. Are you ready? That one is more on the 20. It looks like it's in between, but it's not. Today's Wordle. I haven't done it. I'm going to have to play a little word game so we can find out what your prompt will be. Okay, this was a little tricky. So I solved the Wordle, and we got sneak. So that's definitely something we can work with. I'm thinking a heist book, or you could even have something with an illicit affair going on where they're sneaking around, or anything like that. This is kind of a fun one. So let me see what I have. Okay, High Society by Allie Carter. It's a fun YA. It's a trilogy. We have a cat. She is brought up as a thief by her parents. They take her to the Louvre to teach her how to case the joint. And this is her entire childhood. It's just all about how to steal. She gets older and she decides she wants to get out of this life. She scams her way into an elite boarding school and thinks that life is going to be on the up and up from here. But soon Kat's friend and former co-conspirator shows up. They're going to have to do another job because a mobster's priceless art collection has gone missing. Kat's dad is the only suspect. So to save her dad, she has to steal back this art collection. So it was really good, fast-paced. High Society is a fun time. I did reread this lately, and it did hold up. From your library, we've got The Queen's Assassin by Melissa de la Cruz, another beloved YA author. I have read many of her books, but I haven't heard of this series. But definitely an assassin is going to have to sneak around because it's all about being stealthy. So I don't really know much about this one. I'm intrigued by it, though. So there you go, Christina. I hope you're happy with this list and it finds some good reads for you. You'll have to let me know what you end up going with and if you like them or not. Okay, let's get that replaced because Empyrealowl is going to need all of the flowers on the board. And newest purchase, it's come up. Okay, Empyrealowl, are you ready? It is finally your turn. I know you tried to request the game way back in July, but for some reason YouTube's comments weren't working and it just went off into the Neverland and I never saw it. So we tried to make it happen during October and there just wasn't time. So thank you for being so patient and it's finally here. So let's get your game started. All right, we're going to do 5 spins. Be nice to us. Please be nice to us. Okay, are you ready? Here's your very first spin. Number 8, bright sunny yellow. Buzzword. Okay, this is perfect. Cozy or nostalgic. Okay, so I know you like thrillers and mystery, sci-fi, horror, just no chick lit, nonfiction. And you've been experiencing a long reading slump. We're going to see if we can break that. And I have found personally for me, whenever I'm going through a slump, fast pace, page turners, or something light and fluffy, easy to get through, those, you know, because you're like, yeah, I read one. What am I going to read now? So I think that first book is crucial. So hopefully among this list, we will find the one book that will unlock your slump. So I am focusing on mysteries and thrillers, maybe middle grade because they're quicker. So let's see what we can find. I am going with The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I loved this mystery. You've got a group of septuagenarians. They meet in the jigsaw puzzle room at their retirement home and they discuss cold cases. One day their dream comes true and they learn of a murder and an investigation that's going on at or near their retirement center. So they are, of course, going to see what they can do to solve this case because, you know, they have to. It's their calling. It is so fun. I loved this book. There's a lot of witty humor in it, and they're adorable and funny and lovable without, you know, the author's not making fun of elderly people. You know, it's not patronizing or anything in that way. And I highly recommend The Thursday Murder Club. Now, from your list, In the Hall with the Knife by Diana Peterfriend, I have read this twice. I did enjoy it. The mystery is good. You've got a boarding school, so you've got the like kind of locked environment, good winter vibes to it. Got some natural disasters, but as long as you don't go into this, you know, expecting it heavy on Clue or campy, kind of like the Clue movie with Tim Curry, as long as you don't have that preconceived notion of it, I think you would probably really enjoy it. It was a good book. And let's replace that with a standalone. So anything that's not part of a series. Okay, are you ready for your second spin? Thought you were going to get the star. That one is on the 2. It's much closer to the 2. Oh no. Okay. The Wheel of Shame. This is my books these are books that I haven't gotten to that have been on my TBR and I never made it to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out a prompt from here and we're going to put that puppy back on the board so it'll hit me. Small Town. These are really good for mysteries. Okay, so we'll do that and I am putting The Wheel of Shame back on number 2 because that's just not fair to you. Okay, we have a bit of a theme here because apparently small towns and homecoming queens, not a good idea because I picked Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen N. McManus. And in your library, I found Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Doan. And so both in small towns. So Karen M. McManus has quickly become one of my favorite authors. I see one of her books and I just grab it without even bothering to see what it's about. So far, they've all been a home run, and I really enjoyed Two Can Keep a Secret. Again, this one we have Ellery. She moves in with her grandmother in Echo Ridge, small town America. She's never been there before, but she knows all about it because when her aunt was 17, she went missing. And Echo Ridge hit the news again because 5 years prior, the homecoming queen was killed. So now, before Ellery even gets there, it's been declared open season on the homecoming queen. So there is so much going on in this. There's a lot of town secrets, obviously. And Ellery gets a job at a haunted amusement park that's like part of this town's claim to fame. It's not really prominent in the book, but when it's in there, I just loved it. So this would be a good fall read and a great mystery. Quite short. That one came out in 2019, and your book just was released this October. So let me go refresh my memory on what it is. When her mother dies, Cecilia has to go live with her grandmother in this small coastal town in California in her Victorian mansion that is even creepier than the books that her grandmother writes. So, and we have a homecoming queen is murdered. There's a copycat killer out there. It's all sorts of small town secrets. And Cecilia is going to try to get to the bottom of this before her own secrets come out. So there's two options. Like I said, it's not looking well for homecoming queens. All right, let's get your third spin. Welcome to Just Spin It. Okay. I have no idea what's up top, but we're going to find out one of them. So first we start with number 1, Riordan. So I don't know if you've read any of his. I'm going to go with the first book in 39 Clues, which is The Maze of Bones, written by Rick Riordan. This, of course, this whole series was a big thing, I think 2010, around that range. And each book was written by a different author, but he kicked it off. And this is so good. It's middle grade. And this one, we're, if I remember correctly, in the catacombs under Paris. What would you do if you discovered that your family was the most powerful in human history, and the source of this power was hidden all around the world in the form of 39 clues? They're given a choice. You can either join the hunt for these clues or take $1 million. So our main characters decide to go on this scavenger hunt. And it is such a fun series. You get history in them, and it's really action-packed, and the mysteries are good in it. And I highly recommend the 39 Clues. This might be one, again, like I said before, I think something quick-paced and more lighthearted that you're easy to just jump into and go like, yeah, I got it. What's next? This would fall in that. 39 Clues. Okay. The other one in your library is Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief. So again, Rick Riordan, obviously. I think this is probably what he's best known for, is the Percy Jackson series. A good time. It starts out as middle grade, and I believe as the series goes on, because we've got a lot of spin-offs, it moves into YA. But we're definitely in middle grade at this stage. Percy discovers that he is half-blood. He's part god and part human, and he goes to this summer camp to learn all about this world that he didn't know existed because monsters are after him. So again, another fast-paced one. If you like Greek mythology, then this definitely, you know, it's retelling of a lot of the Greek myths, and I highly enjoy Percy Jackson. And let's replace that with World War One, which I actually found I have a couple of those that I didn't realize. Now we have to spin again, and this time we're going to be picking something up top. There's no telling what you're going to get. It'll either be kind of like a bonus, you know, something nice, or it'll be like a punishment. These are challenges that I set up when I started the game, never expecting anybody else to be subjected to the horror that could be up there. So we'll see what happens. had 17, so we're going to keep looping back around till we get it. So this would be 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. I hope this isn't mean. Free pass. Remove a book or can save it till needed. Okay, so I don't know if you'd actually want this because you're in a reading slump. More suggestions might be better than I'm not going to book off. Not sure how to handle this. I think I'm going to, do we go with the next star? Okay, this worked out good. So I think what we'll do is this one. So you're actually going to get 2 books. You read the original work and then a retelling. So I think that could be fun. I never know what to do when these kind of situations come up. I'm going to put the free pass back on the board, so maybe I'll get it. Okay, the star got you good. I don't know how well these will be for a reading slump because a classic may not be, the best thing to dive in first. But if there is one, I think Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's a short one. Everybody knows about it. If you don't want to read the book, you could probably just skip reading the original and go straight into a retelling. And for the retelling on that, I picked Theodora Goss's The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. This combines a lot of old classic horror story characters into one, including Sherlock Holmes. Not horror, of course, but Holmes is in this. And we've got the daughters of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We've got, I believe, Frankenstein's daughter. So you could also read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. There's quite a few in here, so any of those would work. This book is so good. You get a really good, compelling mystery. You get all of the, tidbits back to the originals. But even if you haven't read them, you won't be lost in this. And one of the most charming things about it is this is written, we've got a group of girls that come together. And one of them is recording their story, and the others have to jump in with disclaimers on everything that's going on. And I just found that so charming and unique. I loved it. So you could go with The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter and pick any of those original tales from the long list of characters that are in here. And from your library, you do have Legendborn, which is a retelling of the story of King Arthur. So you could either just read Legendborn, or you could do any version of King Arthur and then compare it to the two. I haven't read this yet, so I don't know how good it is. I know there's a lot of hype around it. I have read the original, and I really enjoy it. We're on your 4th spin. An illustrated book. Okay, you said you were open for middle grade, so I'm going to go with The Unforgettable Logan Foster by Sean Peters. I love this book. It is charming and funny and fast-paced. It really keeps your attention, and it was unique. We've got Logan. He's autistic, and he's got like a photographic memory. He finds himself with a new foster family, and things are happening all around him. And he quickly discovers his foster parents are superheroes. And with his photographic memory, he is going to help save them. And such a good time. Action-packed, fast-paced. This might be one to actually break a reading slump because the whole way through, I was just smiling the whole time. I loved every second of it. I think everybody should read it, and I can't wait for book 2. Oh, and since this was illustrated, I got this from Once Upon a Owl Crate Jr. We have illustrations. Okay, and the other one from your list, and I might be stretching this because I didn't really see any in yours that I think would be illustrated, but I'm going to pull Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I love this trilogy. I blew through this so fast. So, despite it being a chunky monkey, this might break your slump too because it's all mixed media. Oh, illustrated. So, it counts. But it's told in like email formats or text messaging. There are, quite a few short pages, or for artistic. So good. It's so unique that I just couldn't put it down. I blew through this thing. So don't let the size, fool you. It's actually quite a quick read and a really good story. You start off right in the action and it goes from there, and it doesn't really let up. So I highly recommend Illumine. It lives up to all the hype. I was going to try to keep these really brief. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing a very good job. So I'm sorry if this video has gone way long. And we're going to replace that with The Wordy Traveler, which is a subscription box. Okay, Empyrealowl, this is your last one. I hope this will be the magic book that's going to unlock your slump. Are you ready? Number 8. A standalone. Okay, a lot of possibilities with this one. This is good. Okay, the last book. Maybe this will be the key. I'm going to go with The Lake by Natasha Preston. Welcome to Camp Pine Lake, where the only thing scarier than the ghost story is the past coming back to haunt you. So we have Esme and Kayla. They return to Camp Pine Lake as counselors. They're, embracing their 2 months at the summer camp, expecting it to be just sun and the fun and everything else. But they've got a secret from what happened when they went to camp there all those years ago. And they think everything's fine until they get a message. The lake never forgets. So the secret they kept buried for so many years resurfaces. This one I had like Friday the 13th vibes, just from the, camp counselors at the camp and the scary noises out in the woods and stuff like that. So, don't be thinking of Jason, but it's just kind of that kind of an environment, but not R-rated. Anyway, I love this book. I love Natasha Preston. She's fun. YA thrillers, horror. For the last book, one that we both have, The Mary Shelley's Club. I loved this book. It's by Goldie Moldavsky. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Okay, so we have Rachel. She's had some trauma in her past, and her way of coping with it is to obsess over horror movies. So anything to do with horror movies, and she is all about it. Absolutely loves it. That's her escape. So Rachel ends up moving to this new school, and she gets caught up in a prank and becomes kind of ostracized at this new school. But she's quickly approached to join this secret club, and it's the Mary Shelley Club. So each members of the club have to perform a fear test, and all the other club members have to help them achieve this. They'll pick out one person, and the test doesn't end until the target screams. If you love horror movies, this is a fun time. If you've seen Scream, and Randy's character was always given the rules of horror movies and everything like that, and you like that, then this book is definitely for you, because it definitely breaks down all the tropes in horror movies, and you've also got a mystery in itself going on, and some more, some scary aspects to it. So the Mary Shelley Club, it might be one to break your slump. And we will leave that blank for when it's my turn. Okay, Christina and Empyrealowl, I really hope you find a new favorite read out of these books, or the ones that you choose. You're not obligated to read any of the ones that I suggested. That's all they are, is a suggestion. So, but if you do end up picking them, or, anything, just let me know what y'all end up going with, because I'm curious. I want to know. All right. I'm going to say bye now, because I'm a little brain dead, and it's raining. I'm going to, I think, order some pizza, and then do my own round of Just Spin It. But probably before we get to that, I will have my Sims TBR game. So keep an eye out for that. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you are so inclined. It'll really help my channel out. Y'all have a good one. Bye now.